Right now, a rush to get much needed supplies to people in Maui who have lost everything in that destructive, deadly wildfire. I'm Andrea Flores. Thank you for joining us.
I'm Lisa Gonzalez, and right now families are just trying to figure out what comes next while crews going street to street looking for victims. At least 96 people have died in what is now the deadliest U.S. wildfire in more than a century. Officials warn the effort to find and identify the dead is still in the very early stages. They've only covered a small fraction of the burned out area, and they expect that number of dead to go up as search and recovery efforts continue. Some people made split-second decisions that saved their lives, and now they are haunted by what they saw.
I ran out of the car and ran for my life, ran down to the ocean. I was only a quarter mile from the ocean, and they stayed in their car. They died with their dogs and everything. 3 of my friends in one car and 2 dogs died.
And for those who survived, there is a long road of uncertainty ahead, and right now you do have the opportunity to help.
All day, KCRA 3 is teaming up with the American Red Cross to raise money to get shelter and supplies out to families. And we're talking food, water, blankets, and even toiletries. Golston Dart is standing by at their Situation Room in Sacramento right now. We'll get to him in just a few minutes, but first, Jay Gray joins us from one of the burned out communities on the island with the challenges and heartbreak people are facing.
Hey there, good evening. And the devastation overwhelming on the island here. In fact, I want to give you a look at some of what teams are dealing with right now. And you can see the ash, the rubble, the crumbled cinder block here. This type of scenario playing out in some areas for miles. Entire neighborhoods swallowed by the flames. Recovery teams continue to pour into the area and are working through situations like this, trying to find anything they can in this rubble, and unfortunately uncovering at times victims from the fire. Unfortunately, the governor believes the number of dead here is going to grow, and perhaps significantly. He says it's going to be a long and meticulous process searching through the ash and rubble like you see behind us here that could take another 10 days or more. That while there are hundreds of families who have lost everything here, displaced, and really with nowhere to go long term. Many staying outside of the burn zone with relatives or friends or in shelters which continue to grow here, but there are 1,000 people or more still missing. Now, some of those may have lost their phone or haven't communicated at this point. That's obviously the hope, but again, the governor believes that the death toll here will climb. But what you hear from a lot of those who are struggling here right now is that they will be back, and they are committed to making sure they bring this area back. It is going to be a long haul, in some areas more than a year. They say that they are ready to make that happen. It's a situation that continues to unfold, and we'll continue to follow it. For now, though, I'm Jay Gray on Maui. Back to you.
And as we've mentioned, in many cases, Lahaina residents had moments to make decisions in a harrowing, narrow window of time.
Yeah, we have a new video to show you one of those narrow escapes. 2 people who survived by jumping in a pool as the fire closed in. And you can see the raging flames all around them, burning the vacation condos surrounding them. Right now, a California organization is in Maui. They're working to set up a free day camp for children who are displaced or lost their homes.
This is just such a wonderful resource. It's designed to give them a place to eat, play, and rest while their parents spend the day figuring out their next steps. KCRA 3's Brittany Hope just spoke exclusively with the camp organizers. And Brittany, we know they left Sacramento yesterday, so what's happening there right now?
Yeah, so right now it's just after 1 o'clock in Hawaii. Staff and volunteers there tell me they are working to find families to tell them about this resource. It's organized by Project Camp. It's a California organization that we first introduced you to when they opened up this camp for kids during the Dixie Fire, then the Caldor Fire 2 years ago, and just last summer they had a camp in Siskiyou County for fires burning there. Now, we just got this video from Project Camp, the team arriving on the ground on Maui. They have a team of 10 people. 6 are local volunteers who are teachers or have a background of working with children. This free camp is going to run out of the Maui YMCA on the east side of the island, where thousands of people are evacuated and staying in shelters. Project Camp tells me they've been working with the YMCA, local organizations, the school district, and emergency officials to spread the word about this free resource for families. They are trained to respond in disaster zones where child care is needed. Although today is their first full day on the island, Project Camp says they are prepared to be on Maui for a while.
We know that there is a great need right now, and we know that the schools on the west side of the island are going to be closed at least through Friday. We know that there's also one school that was destroyed, and so we've talked to some folks at the Office of Education. They're still trying to figure out what a plan is to reopen that and how to, get kids back into school. So we're going to be here for as long as there's need.
And how it usually works with these camps is more and more little ones show up throughout the day and the week as word starts to spread. That's why working with the schools and emergency officials is so critical for organizers as they are making their way around the island today to spread the word. They say that a lot of people still don't have power or internet, so a lot of that communication is coming by word of mouth from emergency crews on scene, the YMCA. It is an all hands on deck effort. So today the goal is find these families and let them know you can bring your kids here to the YMCA and they'll be safe.
Such a huge help.
It really is. And we know these camps come together really quickly when natural disaster hits. What about these volunteers? I mean, they're ready to go, it seems like, at a moment's notice.
Right. So it's a combination of staff and volunteers. So Project Camp has staff on board, and they also have 6 volunteers who are locals in Hawaii. Now, these are folks who need to be trained in child care. They are background checked. Maybe they were teachers, but these are folks who understand children, who are used to being around children. So yes, it was really quickly. I mean, they got hands on deck in Hawaii, finding these volunteers, working with the local government there, but it is really a safe place for kids to be. These folks are trained to go to disaster zones. They were in Florida after the recent hurricane there, so it's incredible work. I know right now, I literally just talked to them, and they're looking for families right now at those evacuation sites.
I know how helpful they were 2 years ago during the Caldor fire, correct?
And the Dixie Fire, too.
And the Dixie Fire, just an invaluable help that they're giving these families. Brittany, thank you so much. Right now, you can also help these families affected by the wildfires in Maui by donating money. We're teaming up with the American Red Cross.
Golston Dar joins us now from their Situation Room in Sacramento right now. And Golston, as we've been hearing, every dollar helps, right?
Oh, that is for sure the truth, Andrea, and we have seen a lot of generosity already throughout the day. We started taking the donations at this telethon earlier this morning. We're going to be going till 11:30 tonight. People wanting to act after seeing just those horrific images coming out of the state of Hawaii. So we're here at the Red Cross headquarters to kind of show you a little bit about where some of that money goes in helping those victims there of the wildfires there on Maui. Joining me right now is Robin Friedman, one of the response emergency officers. And Robin, if I can have you join me over here, we're going to talk about a little bit about this in real time. What's going on the island of Maui right now when it comes to shelter, because that is one of the key factors that you need to roll out early on.
Exactly. Right now what you're seeing is a situational awareness map that's used by our job directors under all disaster circumstances. And what you're seeing is the impacted area. Those are near real-time images of hotspots that have been burned or burning in the last 72 hours.
Okay.
Approximately 16,000 people lived in the town, and they have all had to move the basically 20, 30 miles through winding roads to shelters that are located in the adjacent town. So there's 7 shelters that are being operated throughout the area right now.
Yeah.
That's where our major focus is, getting clients to those shelters and feeding.
Here, come take a walk with me real quick, because I like this setup, what you've got going over here, Robin. You've got a couple of different displays, and this one, honestly, it kind of breaks my heart when I look at this, because these are the tools that are given to victims who have something to find at their property.
Exactly. So we're engaging with the distribution of emergency supplies at this point in the future. So these are things that if you have some place to go back to, you can use those particular tools to assist you with them. Things like sifters are for after the fact,
Right.
We're trying to recover precious items.
And of course, you've got the brooms, the brushes, the gloves.
Yeah.
It's just such a job when you get on the site like that.
Exactly.
Okay, and also this is something that's more high tech. This is what your response teams need when they hit the ground.
Exactly. This is our disaster service technology equipment. So it was shipped out of Texas.
Yeah.
It's cell phones with the appropriate applications to do damage assessment and resources along those lines. MiFis for connectivity at places like the shelters. Cradle points laptops, all the tools necessary to effectively assess the situation and give clients connection back.
This stuff's on the ground in Maui.
This is on the ground right now.
All right, Robin, thank you so much. Appreciate that. We've got a lot more to show you coming up here this evening on KCRA3, what they're doing here at the Red Cross. And one of the big things they've been doing is taking in your donations, your generous donations. We've almost had 3,000 donations given so far. Right now, we are standing at $484,000 given by you, our wonderful viewers out there who watch us at KCRA3 and you just want to help out. We appreciate everything you're doing to help the folks there in Hawaii. You can text that QR code, or you can hit that QR code there with your phone. That's a way you can donate. You can also text Hawaii to 90999 for a $10 donation, or you can call that number on your screen. Anyway, some great work being done here. We'll be back to show you a little bit more in about a half hour, guys. Back to you.
All right, Golston, thank you so much. We really appreciate, again, our viewers who are tuning in and donating.
Well, and it helps to see what Golston was showing us. That's what your money is being used to help,
Right.
and help them with everything from communication to supplies. And joining us right now is Sean Mahoney. He's a San Diego Red Cross CEO, and he's in Maui right now. What's the situation there since you've been there? What have you assessed so far, Sean?
Well, I got here Friday, and on Saturday immediately I went to Maui, and you showed some video of the governor walking through what we call Ground Zero there, Lahaina. I went out with his motorcade with FEMA and other officials, and we walked through the area, and it was just devastating to see firsthand like that. As you know, 13,000 people, 13,000 residents were in Lahaina, and right now their future, you've heard about the fatalities, but the folks who escaped with their lives, their future's uncertain. And so it's wonderful to be able to be there with a helping hand and provide shelter, as they fled for their lives. And then we brought in Red Cross from around the entire country, from every region in the country, to come help.
So how is the Red Cross helping right now? I know that this is obviously still in the preliminary stages. This is going to be a long road to recovery, but what is happening right now?
So right now we have 7 shelters stood up, 6 shelters in Maui and 1 shelter in Oahu for people from Maui who escaped the island and came over to Oahu. So those shelters are in place. We have shelter workers there. We're providing feeding, 3 meals a day. We're also providing disaster health, disaster mental health, disaster spiritual care. You can imagine if you escape an inferno like that with your family or your elderly loved ones or whoever, they're going to need some perhaps mental health assistance there from our providers, and they need a safe place to sleep and a warm meal.
Absolutely. It's hard to imagine what they're all going through. Sean, thank you so much for everything you and your team are doing there. We appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you for helping. We really appreciate it. We're grateful.
Again, there are 3 ways you can donate. You can scan the QR code right now at the bottom of your screen. You can text Hawaii to 90999. Again, that is also on your screen. Or you can call 855-337-4483. We also have all of this information on the KCRA3 website with a link to direct you to that page in case you want to get to it later or share it with a friend or another viewer. We would certainly appreciate that as well.